It's preparing the liveness.
There's a lot of static electricity today in here.
Oh, really?
I gotta get a humidifier for the studio because it's like whack. All right, we're live.
All right, we're on. So I don't know if anyone can hear us, but we are live with the TCS overview review of summer workshops, the virtual summer workshops that are going to be running. Um, I believe it's starting in mid-July. It looks like
Yeah, the first one.
mid-July,
The first one is with the illustrious Matthew Finley.
and it'll be running all the way until late August. It looks like so. Quite a host of different workshops, something for everybody, something to get involved with and to learn more about, get some expertise, advice, counseling, tips, whatever it takes to get you to where you want to be. That's the TCS way. Anyway, so summer workshops. Before we get into that, how you doing there, Mark?
I'm doing
How's summer?
fantabulous,
Any,
stupendous. I know Tiffany
any
had mentioned. She said, tune in to the Delcore Brothers for the latest news and gossip. I can't really say I have any gossip to share or.
unless we gossip about Tiffany.
No, we don't want to do that.
I would
We don't
count
want
it
to do
as
that.
gossip.
Tiffany's an angel. She's an angel, and she's been
Right.
gracious enough to let us take over her live streams here. So that
Yeah.
shows a significant amount of trust in us.
And
Some-
bravery.
Sometimes I say to myself, as well as she knows us, she doesn't know us that well to give us that
True.
type of freedom. But
Very
we're
true.
very, very appreciative of the opportunity to speak to everybody,
Yes.
the TCS family, and the community of wonderful students that we engage and we try to mentor and give some motivation to. Um,
And I know, I mean, from your end, is several students that you've had in a multitude of different courses and classes. So
Mhm.
we're looking forward to maybe seeing some familiar faces as well as new faces, people that might be here for the first time, wanting to sign up for a workshop or maybe just to see what's going on and what it's all about. We can hopefully highlight some of the good things that are happening, and then from there, if you want to get more information, you're always welcome to contact Tiffany direct and her great staff at TCS, and get more information and sign up.
We got to give a shout out to Lynn, who does a lot of the administrative stuff for the studio, who really holds it down for Tiffany when she's busy, on the weekends doing shows and doing jobs, or running her music events for her students, which she just had one. I think it was last weekend, the weekend
Yes,
before,
I think
which
this
is
last
always great. It's always great to give people, you know, uh, some kind of tangible platform to kind of showcase their talent. And even though it's in New Hampshire, not a lot of people get to physically be there, but they're involved on virtually online. And it's just a great thing. And now that the summer's kicking in, a lot of changes and updates that we want to kind of go over with everyone just to make sure that everyone's on the same page and is informed.
right.
And a lot of the postings that Tiffany made for the summer workshops, the virtual summer workshops, that's kind of like an open door sort of policy where there's things are going to be coming in, and other workshops are going to be presented. There's a workshop that I'm going to be doing at some point, maybe the end of July, early August, that's not stated on here, so I'll briefly talk about that a little bit at the end. But why don't we just knock out these descriptions of these courses and what kind of wonderful information people are going to be exposed to get themselves to the next level, especially with some of the instructors that are going to be teaching these, who are very, very knowledgeable in their craft. And it's useful information coming from people who have the experience. It's not like it's being someone who hasn't really done anything teaching these classes. These are people who are really ingrained in their craft and know it well. and know how to transform that information to someone so they can use it practically.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Especially when you said to go to the next level. Sometimes maybe even just reinforcing the level you're on is actually pretty good too. If you get more information, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to, you know, move forward, but you can move forward stronger by getting more information and more knowledge under your belt. So it's definitely a win-win, no matter what level you're at or what degree you're at with your craft.
Yeah.
So we'll start off here with the Mark had mentioned before, the industry acting for singers with Matthew Finley, which is going to start on July 16th, and it's going to be from 12:30 to 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. And let's see the overview of this particular course. It says, in order to be a good performer, acting is key. In this workshop, Matthew will take you through the acting skills to get to the top. Great for auditions and industry prep. And I also would add to that, it's just good for overall the way you're going to conduct yourself when you're going to audition, meeting, first time rehearsal, perhaps a studio session, which might have some of the top brass hanging out in that room. Um, so I think for the acting, you can take it as uh, actually acting, or maybe just a behavioral etiquette, perhaps. What do you think about that,
Well,
Mark?
it's always like, at an early age, thankfully, you and I were exposed to, dad's band. Our father had a band, and he used to rehearse in the basement. And at an early age, we were exposed to the concept of playing the room. How many weddings did we do when we were younger, and we were, kind of like perfecting our craft, and you show up to an engagement, if it's a wedding, or if it's a bar mitzvah, or a birthday party. Sometimes you go there with a prepared set list, and the set list, right away by the temperature of the room, that might not be the right content to play for that particular crowd. Case in point, Greg and I, in the mid '90s, we got a job to do a New Year's Eve show in, I think it was right outside of Nashville, might have been in Franklin, Tennessee. And we got hired as a Boston band. We showed up in outside of Nashville it was, I think, a Holiday Inn.
I think actually it was a variety band that they were looking for this event.
Yeah, they were we got booked by someone who was looking for a variety, a band that could play a little bit of everything. So we went there ready to play a little bit of everything. But what we didn't know was that the crowd didn't book us. They were there to celebrate New Year's Eve. And, growing up in Massachusetts, you're not growing up in the South. So country music is not like a big part of your diet when you're learning and you're trying to study and learn how to improvise. And I remember showing up, setting up the equipment, and as the crowd came in, we started to play and do like the cocktail set. And things changed very rapidly when it came time to play the up-tempo dance stuff. And I think we may have played like Ain't No Stopping Us Now or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see the disdain in the audience's faces, like, what is this? We want to hear
Rod Stewart. I think
they wanted to hear Rod Stewart, which we had a couple of Rod Stewart. I mean, thankfully we were at that level where we could pretty much play anything that we could hear in our heads. If I could remember the song and I knew the form, we could, pretty much bang it out. So, and the singer that we worked with was acting the whole time, which relates to this workshop. She had to put on a face to get the crowd on our side, to be able to not have to set up chicken wire in front of the band and the beer bottles being thrown at you, right? It was a completely different experience for us because we had never really spent that amount of time outside of Massachusetts. We had done regional things, New York, Newport, Rhode Island, but to go to a completely different part of the country and to be kind of like out there on a limb, like, okay, we have to come up with a completely different 6 hour set list on the fly. So I remember we would play a song, and then like while we were playing a song, this is before the internet, this is before going on YouTube to like hear a song. Oh, I know the song, but I don't remember the chord changes. But I remember Christine, if it wasn't for her ability to act and to be on stage and to engage and to throw the audience some curveballs musically, um, we probably wouldn't have made it out of there alive. You know, it
Yeah.
was a very hostile, probably one of the most hostile audiences I've ever played in front of. Thankfully, I've been fortunate enough to not get into any situations like that. But the few times that we played in front of a hostile crowd, I mean, and we've always done it together. It's not like you were on a gig in West Virginia and I was on a gig in Michigan and we were talking about it. We were actually living this together.
Right.
And the singer's ability to act not only in the performance setting, but to act with the agent and the audience, it really served a purpose. And then you become, innately aware of the fact that when you get on stage, it's basically a free pass to be whoever you want. You can be somebody that you're not normally in real life. It's an opportunity for you to transform yourself into another type of individual just for the purposes of that 90-minute set. Even if you're doing one song for a festival, if you're going to get up on stage and do a couple of songs at a state fair or festival or like the Topsville Fair in, Topsville, Massachusetts, you want to be able to act and to be a persona and just don't stand in front of a mic because it can get a little boring for an audience member. So I think Matthew's class is very much geared towards how to come out of your shell. A lot of us are shy. I'm a very shy and kind of self-conscious person. I prefer being in the background. I don't need to be downstage center with the spotlight on me. So for me, it was always a good fit to kind of be in the behind the scenes aspects. And you work with enough entertainers and you see how they are on stage. How many times did we run into situations in rehearsals for the residency at Planet Hollywood where people would say, Brittany doesn't look into it today. She looks tired. And in these meetings, I would always say, listen, as soon as the spotlights go on, she's going to turn into who she is. It's, when there's no crowd, there's no lights, it's a little bit harder to act and to kind of come out of your shell. But as soon as that first note hit and the reveal happened, she turned into the artist that she is. And I can say that about a lot of different people that I've worked with. Who they are off stage is not really who they are when they're on stage. They have to take on a different persona and they have to act. So it's not just acting in the conventional self of acting, scene 5, take three, run your lines. It's how to manipulate that aspect of yourself because everyone has it. When I was helping Dad at the restaurant, during like the pandemic, the music industry shut down. Dad, why don't you come down? I know you get bored. And when I used to be at the hostess station with the hostesses, I remember, Miss Aubrey Plaza, who I love dearly as an actress. She was a hostess in Baltimore before she became the big actress that she is, and she's been quoted as saying, "When I was a hostess, it was the best practice for me to exercise my acting abilities because I could be a different person for everyone that came up to the hostess station." And hostessing is really like it's a good platform to kind of practice acting. If you're an actress, a lot of actresses and like actors will actually take jobs like that so they can practice being different characters. Person comes up, yeah, table for 5, okay, you can greet them however it is, whatever energy that they're giving you, you can give back to them. I mean, you don't want to be a jerk, of course, but I remember acting a lot. And the hostesses were impressed by how I could be someone different each time someone came up to the hostess station. And I would try to mimic the energy of the person who was coming. If it was a birthday party with five girls or whatever, I would make them feel comfortable. I could really turn myself into a different person. And I tried to tell the hostesses, you can't be gloom and doom. You got to smile. You got to be happy. You might have a bad day before you came to work, but you have to act, especially when you're a maitre d, a hostess. So not only does the acting thing apply to acting in the music industry, but it also applies to life. When you walk into a store, you go to Target, when you're checking out and you're engaging with the clerk or like the cashier, you can be anybody you want. I do it all the time with Chrissy, and sometimes it drives her bananas, and sometimes I'll get a good laugh out of her. But that acting principle and the workshop, I think it helps people who are somewhat, a little shy or introverted or insecure to come out of your shell once you're on stage. And sometimes people just naturally have that ability to kind of come out of their shells. But those of us who takes a little bit more practice, it's a great program, and there's a lot of tips in there for you to be able to navigate self-doubt or being a little bit apprehensive about performing, or stage fright is a big thing. A lot of people have stage fright, and how do you harness that and keep it under control so you can be a good performer? And that's a great, he's Matthew has had a lot of success in his own life, and he's had a lot of success with teaching and being so generous to share that knowledge with people. So I think that's a very good workshop for anyone looking to kind of tune up their image and their stage presence, how to work a stage, how to you know go into a
Well, I think
section.
now you're getting into maybe the freedom and fun in performing workshop that happens
That
later
was
on.
my segue.
You were elaborating, yeah, you were
Yes.
elaborating onto that, which might be a good pair course to take in addition to the acting. I will add this to the acting thing. I distinctly remember, because we were playing in Nashville, we were under the impression that it would be a lot of country music, and we were wrong about that. And I think a lot of times when you go into a situation like Mark was explaining, and then you have to, like, on the fly switch or change, it's good to have some acting under your belt, because acting allows you to sort of like make those moves in a controlled way, especially if you've learned some technique, and could get you out of some jams when it comes to that. Because thank God we didn't show up with like cowboy hats and stuff, but that would have been worse if we had gone full on into the country thing. And that's just, I think at the time, ignorance, not knowing that Nashville was more of it really was a variety type of a city. It was
Yeah.
all you wanted to hear. I wasn't expecting to be screaming Rod Stewart. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think we
So
played Hot Legs.
yeah, and they went bananas, which I was thinking maybe it was going to be more of a country or like a Big and Rich type, because Big and Rich are from there, but it really wasn't. So acting is, I think, a good skill to have. So okay, so we'll move on to the next course here on the flyer. Is actually a course that I'm doing called The Business of Music. The overview says it's a overview and analysis of the music business, covering topics like management, agents, legal representation, songwriting, recording companies, and much more. I think the description I wrote also talked about publishing, copywriting, um, intellectual property, and all that stuff. Especially now in the digital age, where there's a lot of gray, and there's also a lot more ease that you can do things without having to officially um, register things. For example, most programs have timestamps on them. And that's essentially, in the old days, what we used to do when we would mail songs to ourselves, is we would get an official stamp from the post office. on the package, and this way it legitimized when that package was received. It had put a date and a time on it.
And don't forget to add, you don't open it.
Right. You don't open it until you come into some kind of an issue, and all you would have to do is take that package to the courtroom. Now they call that the poor man's copyright at the time. But now, of course, with the digital age, there's a lot more that can happen where you can actually physically on your own computer make a record of the song. The computer's gonna automatically timestamp it for you, which would hold up in court. Um, and that's something that's definitely changed the way the business is sort of running at this point. But I would say that generally speaking, the course is just going to give people out there who might not really know what's going on in the music industry. How does it work? How do you get paid? How do you get gigs? How do you get on a billboard? How do you get on a TV show? I mean, what is happening? So, I mean, it's going to kind of explain the players in this chessboard that you will find yourself dealing with, whether you like it or not. Because let's face it, as an artist, you can't be marketing yourself. And I mean, a lot of people on the internet do that, right? They self promote and stuff like that. But if you want to try to get to a level where it's like mass, get other countries that you're trying to market to, it gets a little daunting. It's a little hard, and having help is great. But I think what this course is going to do is point out exactly what the roles are, so people don't get confused. Because there's a lot of times people want to cross over. Managers like to be songwriters, let's say, or producers, when they're actually just the manager, right? Lawyers might want to get involved with the selecting the song or the arrangement, and that's not their job. Their job is to cover the legal aspects for the artist and make sure the artist is protected, etc. So it's kind of maybe just explaining who the players are, certain situations that might happen, how you get paid, how you get your music out there. What are these PRO companies, performance royalty organizations, they call them? What's the difference between a mechanical royalty and a physical royalty, being played on the radio as opposed to selling an actual tangible stream or CD or a record, vinyl? So uh, that is going to require mostly just taking notes and kind of keeping a notebook of what's going on with this industry, so you kind of have an idea who you're dealing with when the time comes. So I would recommend that to anyone who just wants a little bit more knowledge from us, from the source, because I've been there, and how it works. And keep in mind that I'll be teaching this from the American perspective, but there's many other countries in the world that have a completely different set of regulations and ways of doing business. I'll say it. I'll say that nicely. That have nothing to do with the way things are done in this country, and that might explain a lot of licensing issues, like why can't certain countries get certain kinds of music, which creates a black market and all that stuff. So it kind of gives you a little bit of an insight on how it works. Um, so that would be that course, the business of music. So in that it says it's starting. When is that starting?
Well, there's two different.
July 20th.
Yeah, there's two different dates. It's the 20th of July or it's the 10th of August. So
Okay.
um, there's two different times and days that you can, if it doesn't work out for you on the 20th of July, you can also sign up on the 10th of August for that.
Correct. And if you decide to sign up for both, I will say that I will be covering basically the same topics, but I will be using different examples. And, it's always a chance that I will be elaborating a lot more on certain topics as the students address certain questions that they may have. So we might focus one day on just publishing end of things, where other days we might be focusing on who owns a master tape or something to that effect, of studio production. Okay. and how all those people fit in, mix engineers and etc. So that's the business of music. So the next one, I'll let Mark read the title and the description of this: acting for the singer with Dr. Ianthe Marini. Is that how it's
Correct.
okay?
Um, so we there's two different courses. There's one given by Matthew, and then one given by Dr. Ianthe, and two completely different approaches to the craft, but with the same with the same end result that they want to get you to. Dr. Ianthe is immensely talented. I really can't say enough about her and her pedigree and her experience in choral and chamber music, her experience in the classical world, and just the overall talent that she has for getting the getting the most out of people and in their like overall performance. It's definitely rooted in like the tradition of getting you to the best possible place that you can be. She's an amazing singer, an amazing teacher as well. I mean, she's been around for a while. She's done a lot of stuff, and even just talking to her on the phone, she talks with a grace and with a confidence that is pretty unique in and amongst itself. And she's just a wonderful human being inside and out. And her approach, you know, is it's like I said, it's a little different than Matthew's approach, but it's with the same destination. There's sometimes a certain instructor may be good for a certain type of person. So you look into it. You can also reach out to Tiffany and get her advice on who she thinks might be the best pairing for you. Um, but it's just it's another type of approach for gaining confidence, how to basically act out whatever it is that you're doing, um, audition prep and things like that. I mean, a lot of people now, it's that time of the year where if you're going to be studying music, if you're going to be going to a music institution, there might be auditions for acceptance. There might be auditions for like placement. A lot of these music universities, they want to put people in the same types of groups that are going to challenge each other. They're not going to put a bunch of people who might not be as talented as other people. They do mix up some of the classes with people, but if you're going to be taking any type of audition or any type of like placement exam or placement audition, it's good to be able to walk into it knowing what to expect, how to navigate through those different situations. You don't know who you're going to get. Like when I went and did like my piano proficiency at Berkeley, I didn't know who my instructors were going to be or my judges. I didn't know if I was going to get like the jazz people. I don't know if I was going to get the classical people. So you try to round yourself to kind of do a little bit of each. And some people like myself, I was more vested into jazz improvisation, jazz music than I was with the classical music. So when I walked in to do my first, placement, I was lucky enough to have two guys in the room who were like legendary Boston jazz piano players. So they understood what I was doing. Had I had a classical instructor in there, I'm sure they would have understood what I was trying to do, but maybe the result of my placement would have been different based upon what they felt my level was at that particular skill set. So, mastering whatever your skill set is and getting that type of confidence helps a lot of people when they're taking entrance audition exams. You might get an audition to work in a show in New York. So, Ianthe is definitely someone who's done a lot of different types of gigs and has a very good skill set on giving people the confidence that they need to navigate through that whole world of auditions and getting confidence with it.
And let me just say that in general, just because you happen to play a certain instrument and study with a teacher who is, a master on that instrument, doesn't mean that you can't learn as much or more from someone who is perhaps teaching a different instrument. So if you're a singer and you're taking lessons with a piano player, that would be in the case of like Mark, let's say, you're going to get a lot out of that that you would normally not get out of a vocal instructor, right? So if you're sitting there deciding which teacher should I use, well, it's all good. You're going to get different things from different teachers. Even though the subject may be similar, you're going to get a different approach, different techniques, different life experience. So it's always good to mix and match. There's not one better than the other. It's just different. And it's in the end is going to help sort of like make a more robust, if I can use that word, sort of experience with whatever you're choosing to study.
Yeah,
But
and and just to add on that, I think that's what makes TCS Studio so unique is that Tiffany really had the desire to round her teaching staff, to be able to have people have the choices on what direction they would want to study with what individual. And like you said, you can get a lot out of, I mean, everyone that's teaching these workshops. They're all very talented, um, and the knowledge is there. So Tiffany, that's hats off to her for rounding herself with an abundance of different types of teachers who we all have the same end result. We all want the same end result, but to have an institution, have a school, to be able to run a business and have so many different types of eclectic people at your disposal to fit with your student base is very important. It's not all the same type of instructor who's going to be teaching the same type of content. There's so much availability that Tiffany has with
and
her.
diversity. And I
Yeah,
will add, I
thank you.
will
That's
add
the
to
word.
that because I don't want to spend too much time. We have several other topics to discuss here, but Dr. Marini is doing it both for the singer and for the instrumentalist. So there's something there for everyone. If you're a singer and a vocalist, obviously there are going to be different techniques as opposed to a instrumentalist, someone who's performing in the band. But I would say that it would be useful for everyone involved. So you're getting two birds with one stone. If you're an instrumentalist or a vocalist, you can sign up for this course that Dr. Marini is teaching. So continuing on, we're going to go to the next workshop, which is called Studio Recording Concept Performance for Singers with Matthew Finley. And overview of this course is in this workshop, you will be covering the skills needed to get started with setting up your own personal studio and begin recording your own music. So here's something that, again, is very accessible. Everyone now in modern era has access to recording, basically doing everything in a home studio, which has now become sort of like a remote studio, either on your computer, on your iPad, on your phone. So a lot of you are probably saying, well, I have all the components. How do I, where do I start? Well, this course will help you. Okay. And it will give you all the tools and resources known and maybe unknown to the people out there, things for free that you can download, other assisting, devices, programs, apps, all kinds of things that are really geared to make it really easy, affordable, and convenient for people who want to sort of have their own studio. Not that you're going to be releasing your own record label off of it, but I mean it's a really great way to be able to demo music, even prepare exercises for yourself. If you're learning how to play over a blues, you can record a little blues backing track and then work on your soloing or riffs, or even
Yeah.
work on creating a whole song both cover or original. So that would be a very, I think, useful type of thing, especially for those of you out there who really want to do it, but you just don't know how to get started. Uh,
Yeah, and
That's the tip for you.
setting up equipment is like the second step after you make the decision on what exactly do you need to do what you want. If you're going to do any type of computer-based recording, well, there are certain things and like peripherals that you need to be able to achieve what you want to achieve. So, Matt will walk you through what's the best equipment to get, most bang for your buck. You can spend tens of thousands of dollars, or you can spend hundreds of dollars on stuff that will pretty much do the same thing. And I tell a lot of people that if you can you know record and produce a song you're on your own, you can always take those elements to a bigger studio and embellish them or mix them on, a $7 million mixing console or $1 million mixing console. You can rent time at a recording studio to do all the bells and whistles and kind of like trickery that you might not have that resource available on a laptop or whatever. So, you know, what kind of equipment do you need? Um, it depends. If you're a beat maker, microphones and things like that might not be your main priority. Obviously, if you're a singer, you want to try to get the best type of microphone that you can afford. Microphones can go into the thousands, high thousands of dollars. USB microphones are maybe $30, $40. So, what's the best type of gear for me or for whoever it is that's going to be recording? So Matthew walks you through all that, shows you how to set it up and how to really optimize your workflow so you're not running into any technical problems. That's the last thing that you want to experience when you're recording. Is you don't want to be worrying about why is it when I play a keyboard sound I'm hearing it a millisecond later. That's called latency. So you want to be able to understand all the terms. What's latency? How does that affect my recording? How do I solve latency? Things like buffer sizes, things like, what is the best sample rate to record at? A lot of people now, studios are recording at very, very high sample rates to get the music to sound um, as great as it can. So things like that are very important to kind of know, and you don't need a degree in engineering, musical engineering, to really navigate that. It's if you have a good pair of ears, your ears are always your best guide to lead you towards the getting your music to sound the best that it can be. And it's a process. Things don't happen overnight. It took me a long time to be able to navigate what it is that I do. You make a lot of mistakes. You'll never blow up a laptop. You'll never blow up a microphone. People get afraid, oh, if I do this, I'm going to blow up my. No, you're not going to blow up your interface, right? These things nowadays are made pretty rock solid. And you know, you, a lot of people have equipment that they don't know that they can use, or they don't really know how to use it. So even if you don't have to go out and purchase anything, um, Matthew's workshop, takes you through how to optimize what you're doing and to get your workflow to be very cohesive. So that's
Let
a
let
great
Matt
workshop.
let Matthew help you troubleshoot, in real time, which is a real special thing that a lot of people wish they had access to.
Sure.
And also the other thing too is that maybe you were in a high school band and now everyone has gone off to college or all dispersed. Um, there's a way that you guys can still perform together online. You can do recordings, or if you're a singer and people want you to sing, send me something that you've done, a little demo tape or something, or a demo reel. You can do that. You can also add your vocals if someone sends you a folder online and says, hey, here's some instrumental music, can you just sing something over it? Be nice to just be able to open that up into your recording software, record some tracks, and send it back. So all those things are are extremely doable, realistic. They happen every day. It's not some kind of science fiction thing. And it'd be good for everyone, I think, to at least have some type of knowledge if you're doing it or not, because eventually at some point you'll be in a situation where that's happening, where you have to do some kind of remote recording or you have to tweak something on your own. And let's face it, when you have your own equipment and you're doing it on your own, there's no one else there pressuring you. You can take all the time you want, do as many takes as you want, perfect it the way you want. It's ultimate for the artist or the singer or the performer to hone their craft and get it the way they want it. So a lot of really good courses with a lot of, positive things that can be done like right away. Like you can do this stuff like the day you're taking the course, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So the next course is another one taught by Dr. Marini, and that is Freedom and Fun in Performing. And that course basically says that get out of your head. This is goes to the stage fright thing Mark was talking about, or performance anxiety. Get out of your head and into your body, and free up your spirit to be totally natural and free as you sing, play, and speak. So, I mean, this is something that's very common, and it's always good to have techniques because you never know. You might find yourself in a situation where you're going to be playing in a front of a ton of people, or in a situation where you're going to be in your head, nervous, anxious. Do I know the material, whatever? And there's a lot, everyone's different. Some people throw up before they perform. I think Bob Hope threw up every time he was going to be on camera. John Lennon threw up every time he was going to perform. Everyone has a different way of like a ritual. So this is a really good, I think, regardless if you think you're anxious or not, it's very helpful not only for you but for those around you. You can help people around you as well by setting the tone and the mood by being calm. Because at the end of the day, you're supposed to have fun, right? We spend all this time working and practicing and trying to get it right, and then you're finally in that moment and you start freaking out about it, and it's kind of like opposite of what it really should be. It should be a celebration of all the work you did, not a judgment. And we can fault some of these TV shows out there, making it a competition, um, and making it a very judgmental practice. We can kind of blame some of those for entertainment value, um, at the risk of other people's emotional distress. But it's not really like that in real life. I mean, basically, if you're playing in front of a crowd, they want to hear you play. They want to hear you perform. They're there for you. They're there and they're excited about it. So I think this would be extremely useful for anybody who has either experienced it, has yet to experience it, maybe is afraid they might have to go through something like that. This would definitely give you the right tools you need at the moment when you're going to say, "Oh God, I feel a little sick to my stomach. I have butterflies, whatever." Some of these practices and techniques are going to be extremely useful. Trust me, at a time when you're going to be needing it. So that's the Freedom and Fun in Performing, also with Dr. Marini, and which brings us to the last course workshop. Which after we finish this, we'll see if anyone has any questions. Or comments or whatever. Maybe we'll elaborate on some more stuff and then we'll be done. So the last one, Mark, you can talk about this one, the performance movement for artists, singers with Tiffany and Lex Cole. Lex
Well,
Cole sounds like the villain of
like Lex Luthor.
yeah, like Lex Luthor, but I mean for like a different.
Well,
I like
I don't know. I don't know if you've ever met Lex, but she's an Italian sister. She's a paisana.
with the last name Cole. Is it
Well,
Coley?
oh,
Lex Coley?
I'm
No.
not gonna get. I'm not gonna speak
She
for
changed
Lex,
her name. That's what
but
happened.
she's a paisana. She's cut from the same cloth as us.
That's like me calling myself Greg Core.
whatever. But she,
Probably fell out.
a lot of people know that Tiffany is an amazing dancer. Okay,
Oh yeah,
so this
with
court,
heels on.
huh?
With the heels on, cutting up a
Yeah,
rug.
yeah. That I mean, that in itself is a talent, right?
Sure is.
Reminds me of Gwen Stefani and 5 inch, 6 inch, stiletto heels
I don't know how they
navigating a
do that.
stage.
That's
I don't
ridiculous.
know. I don't know how they do it, but to get back to
I'll take that course, how to dance in those heels, maybe.
the performance movement for artists, singers with Tiffany and Lex Cole. This workshop for artists and singers ages 12 plus focuses on stage movement. Will give you the tools, moves, choreography to learn your body and get you moving. And that is very, very important. So, learning choreography, right? A lot of people don't know this, but you take someone like a Mick Jagger, right? Mick Jagger has a guy who is his choreographer. And I won't get into what the guy makes because it would make people sick if people paid me that much money to show. I mean, listen, Mick Jagger is not known as a dancer, right? But what he does with his movements on stage is he throws shapes. So triangle, square, right? So it's simple, but it's brilliant if you really think about it. Okay, I mean, if they paid me what they
Easy to
paid that guy,
remember.
I'd be going to the supermarket in a spaceship. Okay, but I wasn't lucky enough to get that gig to be Mick Jagger's choreographer and learn how to teach him how to throw shapes. Okay, so a lot of people might not have the skill or the ability or the rhythm to dance. Like my rhythm is in when I play. Like that's when I play drums, or I'm not really a dancer. I don't right. Two left feet kind of deal, but I don't clap on one and three. So I feel blessed that I don't naturally clap on one and three. So, Tiffany is an amazing dancer. She's like the triple threat, really. And, being able to learn different moves that you can use in like a performance. Tiffany and Lex walk you through that. I mean, both of them amazing singers. Um, Lex is like a powerhouse voice. She's got, an amazing, like strong voice. Same with like Tiffany, but then they know how to be soft and turn it off and be a little bit more gentle. But if they need to belt and go to their higher registers, they know how to do that. So that in conjunction with movement and how to properly breathe and how to maximize your movements to not take away or diminish anything vocally is very important. And there's been a lot of great results from people taking these workshops who it's like the light bulb kind of goes on above your head where you're like, well, I can do that. I might not have to do, you know, uh, pop star choreography, but learning some different hand gestures or what, I mean, like I said, I'm not a dancer, but some of these tips and tricks and routines that you can learn very easily can get you to a point where you look like you've been on stage for 25 years, right? So that is
Yeah, maybe it'll help inspire you to like create how you want to present yourself. I've always found that by having a lot of options, you can find your way through it. So it's always good to sort of like get someone else's take. Not that you have to replicate it, but it might inspire you or give you sort of like pause for thought to say, well, maybe I can do it this way or that way. So that's a good point.
yeah, and like even if you visit Lex Cole's Facebook page, she has videos on there where she's actually doing it. So you can see how she does it, how she works a stage. She had a video and she's got a couple of dancers with her, and like it looks great. It's not a massive arena stage, but the impact that it has on a smaller stage, a medium stage, the bigger the stage, the more you have to act, right? You have to be so vivid that the person in the front row um, sees you, and the person in the last seat in the balcony has the same type of experience. You may be a little smaller, but you're impacting that person in the balcony the same way that you're impacting the person in the front row. So
And what do you say,
learning
Mark? What's your famous comment about the way people listen to music now?
with their eyes, yeah, it's important to have stage presence. It's important to know how to move and how to flow with the music, and Lex and Tiff walk you through some choreography. They show you how to, manipulate your arms and to, have that type of embellishment where it makes the overall image of what you're doing on stage a lot more impactful for the viewer, for the listener. So, you know, I really can't think of two better people to teach a class like that than Tiff and Lex, who have vast amount of experience doing it. It's like they've actually been in situations. I mean, Tiffany, how many gigs have you played with Tiffany where, you might be a little hungry, you might be a little tired, you may have been in the car for 4 hours driving to the gig. You have to check that stuff at the stairs of the stage. I don't care what your personal problems are. Whatever strife you may be going through in your life, the 90 minutes on stage, the 2 hours on stage is your therapy. If I didn't make a living as a musician, it would be therapy for me. It would be a way for me to kind of navigate through good times, bad times, all times. So Tiff and Lex are definitely two powerhouses when it comes to that knowledge of working a stage and how to make one person in the audience who might be 15 rows in the crowd, how to make them feel special, how to reach out and really have people gravitate towards what you're doing. So that's
Also,
definitely a
I'll add
must.
this: I've seen Tiffany in situations where she was a sub on a gig, coming into a situation, and there were three singers on the gig, and they had dance steps that they were doing. Now, if you're coming in as a sub, chances are the people don't know that. You know what I mean? If you're doing like a whatever, a social gig or whatever, casual, whatever they call them out here, the audience doesn't know that. So for you to sort of have a little bit of knowledge and training on how to move is going to be helpful, because you never
Yeah,
know. You might find yourself in that situation where everyone's dancing in the background for the singers. They're doing steps. And if you haven't really worked on it while singing, you might be at a slightly more of a disadvantage just because you're not prepared for it. This is going to help you. And mark my words, if you're any type of person who wants to do as many gigs as you can, to climb the ladder and, you know, earn your stripes and stuff like that, you're gonna have to be like an all-arounder, you know what I
yeah,
mean, to get anywhere. So this course and all of these courses will help with all of that. It's always good to have knowledge, right? Knowledge is power. And whether or not you are able to put it into practice on every single level is not the point. The point is that you're going to have the awareness and the wisdom of what is out there, because if it's not happening to you now, maybe next year you'll find yourself in this position where you're going to say, "Oh man, I wish I had taken at least something to get me dancing and singing so I got used to it." Or I wish I had taken that course. I'm so nervous. I'm about to play in front of 50,000 people. I got to They chose me to sing the national anthem at the game. I've never sung in front of more than 10 people. What am I going to do? I feel like my throat is choking. I'm closing up. So you don't know what's going to happen in the future. This is a great way to prepare yourself, whether it's happening now or later. It's all useful and all extremely relevant and important. We all need to know more so that we can help each other. It won't be so dog eat dog out there, because let's this so and so doesn't know what we're talking about, so we can just roll right over that person. Those days should be gone. I mean, it should be that everyone treats everyone with a monicum of respect, because everyone knows what's going on, and it's going to help you sort of like navigate, no matter what course you take, navigate the road that you want to go on, and what's where it's going to take you ultimately to your dream, or being a songwriter, performer, however you are envisioning. These are all going to help be pieces in that puzzle to get you to where you ultimately want to go to.
And I would never make any type of claim that I'm a moderator or but what I would like to do is just to go back and recap and give the applicable dates that these classes are starting, because I think some of them we may have forgotten to tell the viewers that. So just to recap the summer workshop series for TCS Studios that are all virtual. These are virtual workshops that you can sign up for, and all that fun stuff.
In the privacy of your own home, just
In
relax.
the privacy of your own home. You don't even have to show your face if you're shy. You don't have to really
Right.
just be there and soak in the love of the knowledge that is being shared to you. So we'll start off with Industry Acting for Singers with Matthew Finley, which is going to be held on July 16th from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I believe all these times are going to be EST, Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
The next workshop is going to be The Business of Music with the one and only Greg Delcore. And that is going to be held on July 20th or August 10th. And that will be from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The next class workshop, that we have is Acting for the Singer with Dr. Ianthe Marini. And that is going to be held on July 30th from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we have Acting for the Instrumentalist with Dr. Ianthe Marini, and that is going to be held on August 6th from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The next workshop that we have is with the wonderful Matt Finley, and he's going to be walking you through studio recording and concert performance for the singers. And that's going to be held on August 12th and 13th. That's a 2-day workshop. I believe it's a Saturday, Sunday. And that's going to be from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we have Freedom and Fun in Performing with Dr. Ianthe Marini. That is going to be held on August 13th from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would hope so. 1 a.m. would be a little late, right?
Yeah.
Even though that's when I'm up. And then lastly, but not finally, because I believe that Tiffany is going to be adding some more workshops, I have to get off my butt and give her the curriculum for the workshop that I'm going to be presenting at some point end of July, early August. But the final workshop that we have already being advertised is the movement performance for artists and singers with Tiffany and Lex Cole. That is going to be held August 26th and 27th. It's a 2-day workshop, I believe another Saturday, Sunday. And that's from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that really is that's a must for anyone looking to learn some choreography or to put your toe in the water of that whole world, because that's a completely separate world than like singing and recording. And learning choreography is a big part of what's happening nowadays, especially in pop music. So it would be good to get a lot of knowledge under your belt for that.
And as always, you can double check all these courses, get more information at the TCS Facebook page, also tcs.com. So feel free to reach out if you have any other questions or would like to get more information. There's always someone there to help out with that or to get you signed up, and to also give you some insights on what might be happening in the future. Like Marc just mentioned, there's yet to be a workshop that he's going to announce. And I'm sure that's also going to fit very well within the structure of things that really you're not going to be able to learn from a book. You're not going to be able to take a college course and find this stuff out. This is a lot of insider information from people who have been there, done that, and have the know-how to explain it and sort of like spell it out to you. It's going to save you a lot of time because we didn't have that. A lot of what we've done is trial and error, making mistakes, learning, going down the wrong path and having to take a U-turn to get back on the right path. So having people helping you navigate through this industry is extremely important and like really worth its weight in gold. So I would really suggest for all of you, try to find something in here that you want to build up your knowledge on and your technique and your uh, overall, functionality as a musician, and go for it. It's only going to help you. These are all things that are going to be used, if not now, then later. And
And then, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, better to know than to wish. Why didn't I take that? Oh, I. What did he say about agents again? On that, I should have taken that course because this guy's telling me he's this kind of lawyer. He's a copyright lawyer. What's the difference between that guy and a entertainment lawyer or a contract lawyer or a guy who chases ambulances who says he wants to manage your music career? You know, it's good to know. This way, you have the confidence. You're not going to sit there and go, which way?
And I don't know if we figured out how to see if people had questions. We have to apologize. We weren't able to see
I
any of the
asked in the
questions.
chat, but no one's commenting. I don't
I
see.
think that's separate. I think that chat is, I mean, that goes to show you our ignorance with this world. So definitely have to apologize. What we'll try to circle back with the comments on Tiffany's Facebook page if there is any. Be more than happy to respond to them. You can also direct message either one of us at our respected Facebook pages, Marc Delcore or Greg Delcore. I only have the one page, so I'm not that hard to find. You can send me a message there, ask me
Well,
any
there's also
questions.
Delcore music page. Don't forget
Oh, that's
that.
right. I apologize.
The
That's right.
official Delcore. Yeah, it's okay.
But yeah, if anyone had any questions that we didn't answer, we apologize. We just couldn't see them here. And we'll try to figure that out for the next time.
Yeah, but mission accomplished. We just wanted to explain to everyone what's going on. We're involved with some of these courses. We're involved with a lot of the sort of like thought behind what's going to be offered at TCS to try to keep making students build on their careers and their aspirations. So everything that we're doing is things that we feel you can't get out in the real world, or there's not enough substance out there, and we're trying to offer something that you're really only going to be able to get here at TCS. So try to keep that in mind when debating whether or not you're going to sign up for these courses. It would be to your benefit to get it sort of from the horse's mouth rather than someone saying, yeah, if you go down that road over there, you might find something. I mean, that's, you will find something, but it might not always be a good thing. Could be a sea monster. Who knows, So with that, I will thank everyone for showing up. Hope you all get to sign up for something that is going to help you. And we'll probably either Mark or I or both of us will be seeing a lot of you in the near future. So good luck with everything.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Take
and
care.
We'll see you soon.
Have a great 4th of July, too. We don't see everybody.